Alexander the Great, King of Macedon, conqueror of empires, and a name that echoes through history. In just 12 years, he redrew the map from Greece to India, toppling the mighty Persian Empire and founding cities that became centers of learning. Was he a visionary unifier or a ruthless destroyer? The answer is far from simple. His legacy is a blend of brilliance, ambition, cruelty, and vision. He became king at 20 and died at 32, yet his impact is still debated. Some see him as a hero who dreamed of blending cultures and spreading knowledge. Others see a tyrant whose conquests brought devastation and death. He razed cities, executed friends, and ruled with an iron will. By weighing his heroism against his tyranny, we can begin to understand the man behind the myth. Was he a force for good, evil, or something far more complex? Born in 356 BC in Pella, Alexander was the son of King Philip II, who transformed Macedon into a Greek superpower. Alexander's education was exceptional. Aristotle taught him philosophy and science, while Philip trained him in war. At 18 he led cavalry at Chaeronea, proving his courage and earning the army's respect. His relationship with Philip was tense, marked by rivalry and family drama. When Philip was assassinated, Alexander, just 20, moved quickly to secure the throne. He eliminated rivals and crushed rebellion in Thebes, destroying the city and enslaving its people. This brutal act sent a clear message: a formidable new king now ruled Macedon. Alexander was determined not just to follow in his father's footsteps, but to surpass him. His ambition and ruthlessness were clear from the start. He was shaped by both Greek ideals and the harsh realities of power. The stage was set for his extraordinary and controversial reign. The world would soon witness the rise of a legend. But at what cost? Alexander's military genius is legendary, a reputation forged on the battlefields of the ancient world and remembered for centuries. He perfected the Macedonian phalanx, a dense formation of soldiers wielding long sarissa pikes, and combined it with his elite companion cavalry, creating a nearly unstoppable force that could outmaneuver and overwhelm much larger armies. Leading from the front, Alexander inspired fierce loyalty. His men would follow him anywhere, trusting his courage and judgment even in the most desperate moments. At the Granicus River, he defied his cautious generals and led a daring attack, shattering Persian lines and opening Asia Minor to conquest. His adaptability and willingness to take risks were unmatched. At Tyre, faced with an island fortress thought to be impregnable, he built a massive causeway across the sea, turning the tide with a feat of engineering and sheer determination. Alexander's leadership was personal. He knew his soldiers by name, rewarded acts of bravery, and shared their risks and hardships on campaign. His army believed it was invincible, trusting his bold, sometimes reckless strategies and drawing strength from his unwavering confidence. Each victory reinforced his legend and deepened his men's devotion, making them willing to march farther and fight harder than any before them. He was not just a conqueror, but a master of innovation on the battlefield, constantly adapting his tactics to outwit his enemies. His campaigns set new standards for military strategy, influencing generals for generations to come. Alexander's genius lay in turning impossible odds into triumphs, making the improbable seem inevitable. But his relentless drive for glory and conquest would soon test the limits of both his army and his own ambition, pushing them into unknown lands and greater challenges. The world had never seen a commander quite like him, a leader whose vision and daring changed the course of history. And perhaps in all the centuries since, it never will again. The Battle of Gaugamela was Alexander's ultimate test, a moment that would define his legacy and change the course of history. Vastly outnumbered by Darius III's Persian army, he faced overwhelming odds, with tens of thousands of enemy soldiers stretching across the horizon. Instead of a direct frontal assault, Alexander relied on cunning and innovation, angling his right wing to lure the powerful Persian cavalry away, skillfully creating a gap in their lines. At the perfect moment, he led his elite companion cavalry in a daring wedge formation, charging straight for Darius himself and striking at the very heart of the Persian command. The Persian king panicked and fled, shattering his army's morale and sending shockwaves through his ranks. The result, a decisive victory that ended the Persian Empire's dominance and made Alexander master of Asia, opening the door to a new era. His tactics at Gaugamela are still studied today, a blend of audacity, precise timing, and psychological warfare that set new standards for military genius. Alexander's ability to read the battlefield, anticipate his enemy's moves, and exploit weaknesses was unmatched in the ancient world. He didn't just win battles, he engineered them to his advantage, turning every challenge into an opportunity for victory. Gaugamela cemented his reputation as one of history's greatest military minds, a leader whose strategies would echo through the ages. But with each victory, his ambitions, and the risks, grew ever greater, pushing him further into the unknown. The world was now his, but ruling such a vast and diverse empire would prove even more challenging than conquering it. And the true cost of conquest, the toll on lands, peoples, and even Alexander himself, was only beginning to reveal itself. Conquering Persia was only the beginning. Now Alexander faced the daunting challenge of ruling a vast, diverse empire, stretching from Greece to the edges of India. The lands he now controlled were home to countless peoples, languages, and traditions, each with their own loyalties and customs. He chose a bold path, blending Greek and Persian cultures in a policy of fusion, hoping to forge a new identity for his empire that would transcend old rivalries. Alexander adopted Persian dress and customs, even demanding proskynesis, an act of bowing that shocked his Macedonian followers, who saw it as a humiliation reserved for gods and Persian kings. At Susa, he staged a mass wedding, marrying a Persian princess and ordering his officers to do the same, hoping to unite the two peoples not just in government, but in family and blood. He integrated Persians into his administration and army, training thousands in Macedonian warfare and appointing them to positions of real authority, a move unprecedented for a Greek conqueror. This vision of a blended elite was radical and deeply unpopular with his own men, who saw their privileges and traditions threatened. Many Macedonians felt betrayed, fearing they were being replaced by foreigners and that their hard-won victories were being handed away. Alexander's fusion policy was both pragmatic and idealistic, aiming for stability and unity, but in practice, it often sowed division and resentment among his followers. He tried to be both a Greek king and a Persian great king, but in the end he satisfied neither side, caught between two worlds. His dream of unity was ahead of its time, but perhaps doomed by the realities of power, prejudice, and the deep-rooted divisions of his empire. The policy revealed both his extraordinary ambition and the limits of his control, as he struggled to hold together a realm of such immense diversity. Alexander's vision was grand, but the cracks in his empire were already showing, foreshadowing the challenges that would erupt after his death. Could one man truly unite such a vast and fractured world, or was Alexander's dream always destined to remain just out of reach? Alexander's supporters hail him as a hero for spreading Greek culture, Hellenism, across the world. His conquests made Greek the language of trade and learning from Egypt to India. He founded cities, most famously Alexandria in Egypt, that became centers of art, science, and philosophy. These cities attracted scholars and merchants, fueling a new era of cultural exchange. Alexander's curiosity was legendary. He brought scientists on campaign and sought to understand the lands he conquered. His expeditions expanded Greek knowledge of geography, biology, and the wider world. He was generous to friends and loyal to his men, sharing hardships and rewards. Supporters argue he replaced a stagnant Persian empire with a vibrant, interconnected Hellenistic world. The flourishing of science and art in the centuries after him is seen as his greatest legacy. In this view, Alexander was not just a conqueror, but a visionary who opened new horizons for humanity. But was the price of progress too high? Yet Alexander's legacy is stained with blood. He destroyed Thebes, massacred Tyre's population, and razed Persepolis, acts of terror meant to crush resistance. His army slaughtered and enslaved thousands. Cities that resisted faced annihilation. His cruelty extended to his own circle. He murdered Clitus, a loyal officer, in a drunken rage, and executed his trusted general Parmenion without trial. Paranoia and violence grew as his power increased. The burning of Persepolis, whether revenge or drunken excess, was cultural vandalism on a grand scale. These were not isolated incidents, but a pattern of ruthless rule. Alexander's ambition left a trail of destruction and suffering. The cost of his vision was paid in human lives and shattered civilizations. For many, these are the marks of a tyrant, not a hero. His achievements cannot erase the horrors he unleashed. The shadow of his brutality lingers as part of his enduring enigma. Historians have debated Alexander's character for over 2,000 years. Ancient writers like Arrian praised his genius and vision, while others like Curtius Rufus saw a hero corrupted by power. Modern scholars are equally divided. Some, like W. Tarn, view him as a philosopher king, a unifier ahead of his time. Others, like A.B. Bosworth and Peter Green, see a ruthless conqueror driven by personal ambition and glory. Was his policy of fusion a noble ideal or a tool for control? Was he a civilizer or a destroyer? The evidence supports both views. His legacy is as complex as the man himself. Alexander's story is a mirror reflecting the hopes and fears of every age. The debate endures because the truth defies easy answers. So was Alexander the Great a hero or a tyrant? He was both, a figure of contradictions, a brilliant general and a paranoid murderer, a patron of learning and a destroyer of cities. He embodied the Greek ideal of greatness, but also the tragic flaw of hubris. His ambition changed the world, for better and for worse. The Hellenistic age he created shaped Western and Middle Eastern civilization for centuries. Yet the suffering he caused cannot be ignored. Alexander's legacy is dual creator and destroyer, visionary and tyrant. The final judgment belongs to each of us who study his life. His story endures because it forces us to confront the complexity of power, ambition, and human nature. Alexander remains, above all, an enduring enigma.